So welcome to this latest video on 162 Maths, and in this video we'll be continuing with the theme of going through some big mark questions taken from some GCSE Maths higher past papers. Now, as always, there'll be a copy of the questions that we go through in this video, which I strongly recommend you have an attempt at before watching through this video as we go through the answers, just to see what you would have got without any help. So before we get started working through these questions, just have a quick look at the topics that these questions all relate to. So as you can see, all the questions that we're going to go through in this video are exclusive to one particular topic. So there's not much cross-subject knowledge that we need to kind of flirt with any other area. So let's get started on question 1. So question 1 says, here is a triangle ABC on a grid, and it says describe the single transformation of the triangle so that point B is invariant, point A moves to 1, 1, and point C moves to 1, minus 1. Now with these types of questions, it's really important that you do actually plot and follow those instructions, because there in itself will be your working out. So B means point B is invariant, which basically means that it doesn't move at all. So it's going to stay in the same point. So I'm just going to write B dash. A moves to 1, 1, so 1, 1 is here. I'm just going to call that A dash. And C moves to 1, minus 1, which is here. And I'm just going to call that C dash. And what you would then do is probably just join the points up just to make that new triangle just that little bit more clearer. So from this, what we then need to do is describe the transformation. Now this question is worth 3 marks. Now I'd probably say that you probably would get 1 mark for drawing the new triangle as long as it is plotted correctly. So for this, hopefully you've chosen the right transformation, which is a rotation. And with a rotation, you want to give 2 bits of information. You want to give the center of rotation. So the center is going to be point B, which is minus 1, 1. And the angle of rotation, which is 180 degrees. And that will be fine for the 3 marks. Then moving on to question 2, it says L is directly proportional to D squared when L equals 85, D equals 10. Write down the equation connecting L to D. So here what we want to do is we want to translate this using math notation. So we've got L is proportional to D squared. We then want to replace that proportion symbol with equals K. And then from this, what we then want to do is substitute these values to work out the value of K. So from this we get 85 equals K times D squared, so that's going to be 100. So K equals 85 over 100. Now if you want to, you could leave the fraction as it is, or you could simplify that, in which if we do simplify that fraction, it gives me 17 over 20. But on a non-calculated paper, it doesn't really matter. But the general equation is going to be that L is equal to 17 over 20 D squared. Or you could write it as L equals 85 over 100 D squared. Or you could write it as L equals 85 D squared over 100. Any of those would be absolutely fine. The next question then says work out the value of L when D equals 5. So for this, all we need to do is to substitute D equals 5 into this formula here. So L equals 17 over 20 multiplied by 25. And again, if I type that into my calculator, or work out 17 times 25, which is 425 over 20. And it gives me a final answer of 21.25. And again, if you wanted to give it as a fraction equivalent, that would be absolutely fine as well. Moving on to question 3, it says 20 people were asked which device they use more often, a laptop or a phone. The table shows the results. 1 male and 1 female were chosen at random. Work out probability that exactly one of them said laptop. So here, the possible combinations we can have is either that a male has a laptop and a female has a phone, or the male has the phone and the female has the laptop. So these are the 2 situations that we then need to have. So if I then work out the probability of these, so the probability that a male is chosen with a laptop, well, that's going to be 2 out of 11. So let me just write the total here. So it's going to be 2 out of 11 multiplied by the female having a phone, well, that's going to be 5 over 9, or we've got male having a phone, which is 9 over 11 times, and it's going to be 4 over 9. So if I then work this out by multiplying the numerators together, so I get 10 over 99 plus 36 over 99, and then I've just got to add the numerators together, so that's 46 over 99. Does that simplify? I don't think it does, so my answer is just going to be 46 over 99. It then says 2 males were chosen at random, work out the probability that they both have a phone. So we know that males are being chosen, so we're only looking at 11. So then from this, the fact that they've both got a phone, well, the first person is going to be 9 over 11. The second person, well, there's one less person with a phone and there's one less male. So it's going to be 9/11 times 8/10. So 9 times 8 is 72 and 11 times 10 is 110. And that will definitely simplify. So if I divided both numbers by 2, I get an answer of 36 over 55. Moving on to question 4, it says on the grid, identify the region identified represented by, and then we've got x is less or equal to 5, y is less or equal to 4, and x plus y is greater than 6. So looking at this equation here, well, I need to plot x equals 5, which is a vertical line through 5, and it's going to be a solid line. So again, recommend you use a ruler for this, and let's see if I can do that. And then so for the next one, that's also going to be a solid line, so I need to draw y equals 4, like so. And then for the final one, x plus y is equal to 6. So if I just make up 2 random coordinates, so let's go for when x equals 1, y is going to equal 5. So one coordinate is 1, 5. And another coordinate is, let's go for when x equals 3, y is going to equal 3. So if I plot 3, 3, so 1, 5 is here, 3, 3 is there, and it's going to be a dashed line. So if I just connect those points up, and the region that we need to highlight is going to be this region here, this triangle. And the reason for that is, if I just finish just by labeling it R. So from the green line, I want it to the left, so I want this region here. For the blue line, I want it below, and for the orange line, I need it above. And so there is my region of R. Moving on to question 5, it says x is an integer, and we want to prove that the answer is a square number. So for this, what we want to do is expand the brackets first. So here I've got 35 plus, and then I've got a double bracket situation, minus, and then it's going to be 2x, 4x minus 3. So then simplifying all of this first, we get 9x squared, and it's going to be plus 6x plus 1. And then I can just fill out the rest, and let's simplify this. So I get 8x squared plus 6x. So then from this, if I then start simplifying, well, I'm going to get 9 take away 8 is 1x squared. I've got 6x plus 6x, which is going to give me plus 12x, and I've got 35 plus 1, which is 36. Now from this, I can then factorize that, so I've got x plus 6 squared. So as you can see, it's always going to give me a square number, because regardless of what x is, plus 6, and I'm going to be squaring, so therefore always a square number for all values of x. So moving on to question 6, it says Liam is trying to remember a 3-digit code. He knows that the rule is that the first digit is a cube number, the second digit is a factor of 16, and the third digit is an odd number. Liam tries to remember a random code that matches the rule, work out the probability that it is the correct code. So looking at each of these individually, if I look at the first digit, Well, from the first digit, we know it's a cube number. So the first cube number is 1 cubed, which is 1. Next one is 2 cubed, which is 8. And the next one's 3 cubed, which is 27. So the only ones it could be that single digit is 1 or 8. So it could be either a 1 or an 8. Then for the second digit, we're looking for factors of 16. So we've got 1, 2, 4, 8 and 16. Out of those, how many of those are single digit? So it's going to be 4. So it can either be 1 or 2 or 4 or 8. And the third digit, well, that can only be an odd number. So it's either going to be a 1 or a 3 or a 5 or a 7 or a 9. Now looking at how many of each of those numbers we've got in each of those categories, so we've got 2, we've got 4, and we've got 5. And if I multiply each of those numbers together, I get a total of 40 possible combinations. Now the probability of Liam picking the right one out of those 40 is going to be 1 out of 40. And that concludes the last question on this video.